another great Caleb game. Greg, we'll start with you.
Great Caleb game. I'm not sure about a great Caleb game, but I do expect Caleb Williams to play well. Look, he's coming off a really good, impressive performance against the Cleveland Browns. So his level of confidence is going to be high. And largely because of what he was able to do in that second half against the Green Bay Packers. Like, when you play that type of a game, and obviously it didn't end the way that he would have hoped, but when you watch that tape and you're the player that performed and threw that interception, you don't necessarily look at it as, man, I threw an interception, I let my team down solely. You look at it as, man, I got this team.
Oh.
I blew it. If I make this throw, like they didn't stop us in the second half pretty much. I was able to do whatever I wanted to do as a pass thrower, we as an offense. And when you look at what he doesn't have, obviously Roman Duze and Luther Burden, I don't think that's obviously really good, impactful players for what they've been doing all year.
Because Burden was big in that
Loveland,
game.
His emergence, Cole Kmet is getting back reacclimated and involved in what they do offensively, and then DJ Moore as well. So they still have weapons, and we got to understand he's going to be protected by that run game, and he has a level of confidence where now the operation looks good, pre-snap, he's seeing things better, he's anticipating throws. I still think he's going to play well, and this has nothing to do with what the Packers won't have. I just think his confidence is at that point.
No, look, that makes sense. I think this is the most intriguing part of this game. And both quarterbacks, really. What does Love do? Can he carry him without Micah Parsons? But, yeah, I really want to see, does Caleb build on what he did last week and, like you said, the second half against Green Bay. He's had 3 outstanding games outside of last week against Cleveland. Dallas, he threw 4 touchdowns. And then Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, he threw 3, no interceptions in those games. The game after, though, he's fizzled out in 2 of them. 1 of them, he was okay. But you see his numbers. The game after a great game, he hasn't been able to play well. So if he can string together 2 great games, it'll be the first time he's done it this year.
Giants and Eagles, not like.
Those aren't great. The Eagles, obviously, but the Raiders and Giants, those aren't even good teams you're facing. So it'll be interesting. I think he's fully capable. He has, these last few weeks, I think, played really well. And just, you're seeing him, when he rolls out, that's when he's, like, at his best.
So I think you can kind of look at it as, if you can get over the mistake at the end of the Packer game, which, again, I'm not trying to gloss over, but to me that wasn't like indicative of anything other than, guy, you saw it late and underthrew it. You know what I like? The process was fine. The play was fine. It was the right read, all of it, but he saw it a little late and then underthrew it. He has a chance to have now strung together, if he has an excellent game, like 10 really high-level quarters, right? Because the second half against Green Bay, to your point, the whole game against Cleveland, and then this game. And if he does that, they are a very real threat. Yeah. Because this team, when Caleb's played well, they've been one of the best teams in football. When he has had 5 games this year with a passer rating 95 or better. They're 5-0. They're 5-4 in the games he hasn't, which is a testament to the defense forcing turnovers in the running game. When he has thrown for just more than 210 yards, they're 7-1. They're 3-4 when he doesn't, which again shows you, to Ben Johnson's credit and the running game's credit, they're a 500 team when the quarterback plays poorly, which most teams would kill for that. Like, we'd be 500 when our quarterback plays bad. But the fact that they're damn near unbeatable when he plays well is what, if we get another great Caleb game, then all of a sudden you start being surprised by his bad games rather than pleasantly surprised by his good games, which that would then make them an 11-4 team with a young #1 pick quarterback ascending at the right time and super dangerous. And it would put them in great shape to at least win the division. You know what I mean? To get a home playoff game and have the best path imaginable.
You know, it's interesting because across the entirety of the campaign, I've consistently maintained this team possesses the capacity for greatness. This offense has the potential to be exceptional. I've frequently noted that the primary variable, the current limiting element, is the quarterback's development. a circumstance I've always stressed is perfectly acceptable. He is in his second professional season and his first collaborating with this specific offensive coordinator. My assertion has been that if the quarterback can actualize his projected talent, this squad transforms into an unconquerable, virtually unbeatable entity. I've even drawn a parallel, suggesting they could mirror the dominant iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs, a peculiar statement to phrase in the past tense. The current win-loss record and the accompanying statistical output now substantiate that perspective. I've articulated this viewpoint repeatedly, particularly during the earlier stages of the schedule, and as we've witnessed the subsequent games unfold, that assessment appears remarkably accurate. Nevertheless, I believe it remains reasonable and appropriate to acknowledge that the quarterback will not string together a flawless sequence of elite performances. In many respects, I hold his counterpart in Denver to a slightly elevated standard in this regard, due to the continuity he enjoys with his head coach, a stability the Chicago quarterback lacks with his own offensive coordinator. This invites a comparative analysis between the two young passers, as the juxtaposition is quite illustrative. Over the past several weeks, encompassing approximately 3 to 4 contests, a significant shift has become apparent for the Denver quarterback, notably following his team's bye week. When evaluating a developing quarterback, you begin to sense a crucial inflection point. Is this emerging level of play establishing a new foundational baseline? Is this becoming the consistent floor? Certainly, subpar games and regrettable errors will persist. He is human, as are the established veterans. The pertinent questions become, are we witnessing a stabilization of that floor? Can he access his elite ceiling with greater regularity? No athlete perpetually operates at their absolute peak. Even the most celebrated veterans cannot summon their zenith every single snap. Their floor may be elevated, but poor outings and mistakes remain inevitable. The quest is for underlying stability. This evaluation is profoundly intuitive. For anyone who interacts with children, be they your own, nieces, nephews, or students, you recognize a developmental phase, typically between ages 4 and 7, where rapid maturation is visible. You might not see a child for a week and perceive a genuine cognitive leap. They begin articulating thoughts with a coherence absent just days prior. You think, this is intriguing. That was a surprisingly insightful question. You wonder, is this the new baseline for their cognitive development? A strikingly similar phenomenon occurs in football with player growth. You literally observe the evolution in real time. This is why coaches reference a player having a lot of growing to do, or needing to mature, within the athletic context, denoting the necessity for their game to evolve and refine. You witness it transpire before your eyes. Consequently, observing the Denver quarterback's progression has been captivating. Commentary suggested we might soon be more surprised by a poor performance than a strong one, indicating an elevated standard. The challenge now transfers to the Chicago quarterback, to demonstrate that his own floor has been raised. He doesn't need to produce a spectacular throw on every drive to remind us of his ceiling's potential, but rather to consistently exhibit that stability, incrementally raising his baseline performance. Are we presently observing that process? It's impossible to know definitively. One must simply wait and see. All alternative perspectives are merely conjecture. This rationale underpinned the anticipation for the Denver quarterback's recent matchup. It was an opportunity to affirm that continuity and sustain that elevated level of play. Success in doing so cements status as a genuine top-tier NFL team, analogous to the respect commanded by the league's established elite quarterbacks. The moment that proficiency solidifies is the moment a team transcends working around a young quarterback's limitations, a phase both Denver and Chicago have navigated. This contrast illuminates why another young quarterback's rookie season felt so extraordinary last year. That sense of limitation was largely absent. He appeared immediately proficient, aided significantly by his mobility, sound supporting infrastructure, and excellent coaching, resulting in a smoother transition with fewer pronounced growing pains. The Chicago quarterback has inevitably experienced more pronounced developmental challenges, attributable to coaching turnover and mid-season instability. However, we are now approaching a pivotal juncture with him. It is time to observe what caliber of stabilizing, consistent performances he can deliver. I maintain it is acceptable even if we do not conclude every game marveling at an unbelievable individual performance. A single underwhelming outing does not constitute definitive proof that he is insufficient or unprepared for prime moments. He remains in a process of working through intricacies, becoming incrementally more comfortable each week. Therefore, the question of whether to expect another great game from him is somewhat misplaced. The only fair expectation at this stage is that he not be actively detrimental, that he avoid a performance so poor it prompts bewildered criticism. It feels we have moved beyond those catastrophic lows. While he may not yet possess the extensive reservoir of exemplary moments that grants established stars immediate grace after a bad game, a privilege not yet extended to him or his Denver counterpart, that is the natural progression. A final point. The notion that a stellar performance inevitably precipitates a mediocre follow-up is a statistical illusion. One could posit a hypothetical scenario where a quarterback exerts such exhaustive physical and mental energy in a heroic effort that depletion causes a subsequent drop-off. That logic holds some theoretical validity. However, that is demonstrably not the operational pattern for this quarterback. There is no causal link between a great game and a poor subsequent one. The occurrence is coincidental, not indicative of a flaw. Furthermore, the classification of great versus not great is often superficially tied to statistics. I have repeatedly stated that a certain statistically impressive game against Dallas was, in my assessment, not a truly great performance. Conversely, a different game with less gaudy numbers was infinitely more impressive and indicative of high-level play. Therefore, even the binary categorization of great or not great is frequently misguided. It will be intriguing to observe the upcoming contest. It is regrettable, though Bears fans are undoubtedly unconcerned, that the Packers' defense is not at full strength, particularly absent a key pass rusher. Ideally, you desire iron to sharpen iron. You want to evaluate a young quarterback against elite defensive constructs. You want to witness him confront the best units, answering the questions. Is he that caliber of player? Can he conquer formidable challenges and deliver in pivotal moments? That was the compelling aspect of the Denver quarterback's performance against Green Bay. He made monumental throws and plays, operating at an exceptional level. A natural, albeit minor, rivalry narrative between the two young quarterbacks exists. While I am not primarily interested in fueling that specific comparison, observing the Denver quarterback's display likely elicits a desire to see the Chicago quarterback rise to a similar occasion and perform comparably. The reality, however, is that the Bears' offensive ecosystem, orchestrated by their coordinator, is more balanced and can rely more heavily on a potent rushing attack. Players are schemed open differently, meaning the quarterback is not constantly required to manufacture miraculous individual plays. Consequently, the ultimate evaluation may not hinge solely on his statistical output. If he passes for 180 yards and 1 touchdown in a convincing 28-14 victory, powered by 210 rushing yards, that outcome is perfectly satisfactory. The hyper-focus on his individual stat line, while understandable given his position and draft pedigree, can be disproportionate to the team's holistic success. I am certainly excited for this matchup. But those are simply my reflections. I would be delighted to hear yours. What are everyone's thoughts on the Chicago Bears quarterback and the team overall? Do you anticipate another standout individual performance against the Green Bay Packers at home? Share your perspectives in the comments section below. I read every single comment. Whether you agree with me or challenge me, let's engage in some dialogue. Let's have some spirited debates, but ultimately, let's simply enjoy the conversation. Please consider subscribing. We are cultivating an incredible community here and would absolutely adore your participation. I aim to build something we all feel a genuine connection to, something we're truly enthusiastic about joining. I believe we are making significant progress toward that goal. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely assists with visibility and the platform's algorithm. Thank you so very much. I will see you all next time.